Yo, what up, guys? I'm gonna try to make a little video here, kind of like I guess you want to call it a blog. Um, so, a friend of mine, Bill, he runs a Facebook page called Code Drivers Unlimited, and he recently reached out and asked me to write an article, but I kind of spiderwebbed all over trying to write this article. It wasn't the easiest thing to do. But he asked me to write an article about what it's like to be a paraplegic and in the racing scene. Um, but I don't know, I guess to start it off, I'll go in a little bit of background, a little bit about me. Um, and at first, you might think, what does any of this have to do with racing or being a co-driver? Well, really, it doesn't have anything to do with being a co-driver. Um, Later on, in a future episode, I will, touch more in, get more into it, um, about some of the things I've had to deal with, um, being a co-driver in the racing scene, because there is some of the decisions we've had to make as a team, um, pretty much has to do with my ability. Um, but yeah, I'll just go ahead and get into some of the stuff. Um, just my background about me. But oh, my name's Danny. Um, I'm a paraplegic. I broke my back 11 years ago. It was January, I want to say January 23rd of 2017. Um, but yeah, I broke my back on a motorcycle out in the desert, Superstition OHV area out in Imperial Valley. Had a YZF 450, basically, you know, rode up a sand dune and launched off the top. Uh, I want to say dropped about, I want to say 30, 40 feet to the flats. Everything compressed. My butt hit the seat and bam, just blew up my T12 vertebrae. Um, it sits about the same level as your belly button, and the doctors say that's where most of your flexibility is in your back, and that's why there's a higher rate or a higher percentage of people nowadays breaking that specific vertebrae, the T12 vertebrae. Um, but um, Before all that, when I was young, I played sports. I played football, soccer, baseball, and I always gave 100%. I was tough as nails. I have always been tough as nails. Um, but I'm also very, very sensitive. Um, I can be a softie. But growing up, I played ball. Football was my favorite sport. Um, Other than riding dirt bikes off road, that was my favorite thing to do. But before riding motorcycles, football was my thing. Um, I think I got a lot of aggression out from playing ball, from playing football. But like I said, I was tough as nails. I was a beast. Um, but that was, Pop Warner days, junior high, high school. Then after high school was, you know, the end of the football stuff. Um, I uh, I got into riding motorcycles, shoot in junior high. Um, my dad, my dad bought himself a motorcycle. Um, he actually grew up riding motorcycles, with the 3 inches of suspension and this and that, and he could have went pro. Um, he kicked ass, so we kind of took on. after him. He rode the Baja 500, Baja 1000. I know his team placed third. I think it was the Baja 500. Could have been the Baja 1000. Placed third. He rode the nighttime portion of the Baja 1000. But anyways, he got a motorcycle for himself. Then we borrowed a couple other motorcycles for me and my brother, and eventually we had our own. And that's all she wrote. We were just in it to get it, in it to win it. We Every other weekend we went riding, rode in local areas. Um, but yeah, always riding, growing up riding. And then in 2017, I had that accident and broke my back. Um, it was definitely a life changing experience, that's for sure. Um, so when I launched off that sand dune, dropped, um, landed, I, I felt my back just bust. I could hear it from the inside out. It was pretty crazy. What else was crazy is I landed face first in the sand. I felt like my feet were sticking straight up in the air, but I was laying completely flat. Um, and right then, it was the last ride of the weekend. We are playing around the sand dunes, uh, a superstition called Sandam. If you've ridden there, you know what it's all about. Um, well, usually I haul ass to the top, slam on the brakes, and roll over because it's a witch's eye, um, or not a witch's eye. It's a razorback. Um, and for some reason, when I slammed on my brakes, I don't know. I don't even know. I think the sand dune was kind of like sorry, I'm holding the phone too, but kind of went up, kind of rolled, and still went up, but at that part where it rolled before the the very top, I think I just kind of lifted off the ground just enough to where my tires were not on the ground enough to slow me down when I slammed on the brakes, and I just sailed right off. Um, but yeah, and that was, and we were talking about, okay, it's time to go home, and we headed home, and I headed home in a helicopter. Um, but yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was intense. Um, it was kind of a trip, kind of one of those. When I was laying on the ground, instantly, all of a sudden, it was 50 mile an hour winds. It was calm is like there was not a breeze anywhere. And all of a sudden I crash, and then all of a sudden the 50 mile an hour winds blowing through, and my friends were trying to keep the dust off me and trying to, keep me as comfortable as possible. But yeah, luckily I knew what happened. I knew I was broken. I reached in my pocket, grabbed my cell phone, and told my buddies, like, here, take my phone, call 911, get me the hell out of here. Um, so yeah, I the my friends went down, called they got a hold of 911, um, gave them all the information, but they had to run back to where it was flat, and because the ambulance couldn't get to where we were at. But basically, my friends met up with um, the paramedics and um, the rangers out there. Paramedics all jumped into the rangers truck, and they came out to me, strapped me on the backboard, put me in the back of the truck, took me down to where the camping area is, where it's flat. The fire truck sprayed down the dirt, got it all wet, so when the helicopter came, it didn't just blow us all out with more dust. Um, and I think, like, by the time we got back, 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes ride back from where I was hurt to the flat area. Um, the wind had completely died down. It was kind of a trip. Um, but yeah, so jumped in that helicopter and flew back home to San Diego. Um, I was kind of bummed I couldn't really see the view out of the window because I was strapped looking straight up to the top. But hey, you know. Um, but yeah. So that's what happened. That's how I broke my back. Um, and ever since then, I've been rolling around in a wheelchair, um, living my life on wheels. Um, Rehabilitation was about 3 to 4 weeks. The first week was pretty intense. Kind of just trying to get like that pain management down. Um, but I was at Alvarado Hospital, and we found out that Sharp Memorial had a facility that was 100 times better than Alvarado. Um, there was young people there. Well, Alvarado Hospital, it seemed like I was in there with a bunch of like elderly people, strokes, things like that, and just not an environment for a young guy to recover. So I went to, well, my parents went to Sharp Memorial Hospital, checked out their facility, and they basically said, "Yep, that's where you're going." So sure enough, I went right there, and it was bright. Um, there was other young people there, same injuries, back injuries, um, and so it was more. It was kind of like a community. Um, to get people just like me, you know, trying to recover, trying to learn what they had to learn to get out of there. Um, I So I spent 1 week at Alvarado, 3 weeks over there, and pretty much my main goal was teach me what I need to know to get me out of here. I wanted to go home. I didn't want to be there. So I learned, all the little different things. Um, how to put on your clothes, taking a shower, and then the physical therapy, trying to get strong, trying to learn how to balance. Because when you don't have the leg muscles, it is very, very hard to balance. Um, for you people out there that are able-bodied, you got your legs and limbs. What I try to tell people is sit on a chair, just lift your feet off the ground a couple of inches, and reach out, like reach forward. Um, Try to do something, bend forward, and don't use your legs. Don't let your legs hit the floor, and you'll kind of get, the balance part, and really kind of see how that feels. Um, but yeah, I had to learn how to, I have no problem getting in depth. How to learn how I try to put you on a bowel program. So you go to the bathroom, go poop every morning at the same time, you know. Um, I had to learn how to put a catheter down my urethra so I could pee. Um, Luckily, I couldn't feel it, so it didn't hurt. Just push that sucker in and pee. Um, but once I got out, what's funny is I found certain situations I wanted to go back to the hospital. Um, but I ended up, learning what I need to learn. Um, had a lot of good times when I first got home. Um, Even though that life-changing experience really sucks. I mean, you got to be lighthearted. You can't go in the dumps with it. Um, it's sometimes it's hard not to. Some people just don't have that mental mentality to keep themselves up and out of a hole of depression and stuff like that. A lot of guys end up going to the pills, taking pills to try to ease their pain or just help them. But you know, in the long run, all it does is put you in a harder hole, a deeper hole, and harder to have a better life, have a better perspective, a positive life. Um, you know, and I'm gonna tell you right now, there was days I cried all day long. It was hard. Um, you know, you're like, what are you gonna do? Uh, what if this didn't happen, or why? You ask the question, why did it happen to me? Well, guess what? It happened to you. It happened to me. There ain't nothing you can do about it. Just take it. You know, learn, learn what it takes to get yourself motivated. You know, and I'll say it over and over. It's not easy, one bit. You know, and this is the life changing accident that I had to deal with. You know, other people out there, all you other people that are watching right now, you know, you might be dealing with other things that, you know, that are different, but you know they could be, you know, something a little smaller, not as big of an issue, you know, to me, but it could be a huge issue to you, and and you know, different strokes for different folks, pretty much. But all in the end, you know, in the end game is, where do you want to be at the end? You want to be in the back, you know, figuring out how to get to the front, or do you want to be in the front, you know, thinking about, yes, you know, all that bullshit is behind me, you know, like the struggle, you know, struggle with it, yeah, yeah, but struggle and move forward, work, you know, figure out what it takes to keep yourself motivated and positive. Um, but like I said, you know, there was days I cried. There's days still to this day, 10, 11 years later. You know, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to do nothing. I just want to mope around. But, you know, if you do it for a day, whatever. But it can't be, that can't consume your life, you know, or you're not going to have one. Um, but yeah, um, this video is now going on 17 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up here. Um, Feel free to leave comments below, things you would like to know more about me. If you got a buddy, or, you know, male, female, older, younger, if you have a friend out there um, that is going through some life changes, physically, mentally, I can't, you know, maybe I can help. Maybe they would like to watch this video too. But yeah, I'll get more into, you know, racing stuff in the next video. Um, some things I've learned, some things that's happened that you know, really, you know, hurts inside, from, you know, from a personal standpoint, the mental game, um, and just like different topics and stuff like that. But feel free to you know, comment below, um, and let me know what you guys want to, what would you like to know about me. um, what are some questions that you might have, just in general, whatever it might be, just ask them, shoot them. I have no problem talking about whatever you might ask. But yeah, I will be back in a while, um, and set up another video, and I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, late.